Packer fans, it's already Tuesday afternoon. Maybe it's even Tuesday evening as you are watching this video. And we still have gotten nothing on Matt LaFleur's future with the Green Bay Packers. We were told on Sunday that contract talks would have started by now. We were told on Monday that the team and Matt LaFleur are expected to knock out a contract extension over the next couple of days. And I know it hasn't been a full 48 hours since that report initially, but we haven't even gotten any other coaching moves. Like everybody who was on staff, who we thought maybe shouldn't be on staff going forward, everybody's still in place. In fact, nothing has happened. So does that mean something big is about to happen? That's what we're going to talk about on today's show. Before you get any further, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Free daily shows all throughout the offseason. We're not going anywhere. Free agency, NFL draft, and much more. We are 385 subs away from 25K, a quarter of 100,000. My goal is to get there in the next 2 weeks, as it will be our 1-year anniversary coming up on the 27th. Help me out. Hit that subscribe button. All right, let's talk about it. Matt LaFleur, what is his future with the Green Bay Packers? It felt like going into Saturday, he wasn't in a spot where he was coaching for his job. Some maybe thought he was. I wasn't one of those people. And then you lose that game in that fashion, blowing a fourth quarter lead, blowing a halftime lead in which you were absolutely dominant. And a lot of people are fed up. A lot of the fans are fed up. And every one of their opinions, like, I hear, and I somewhat agree with. But just because we're saying it doesn't mean that it's going to happen. Well, ESPN's Rob Demovsky wrote about the future of Matt LaFleur, a guy who has been as locked in on the Green Bay Packers over the last decade or so. And he said, is it possible? They're working on an extension they know LaFleur wouldn't take. Then it makes them look like, hey, we tried, but ultimately we decided we couldn't come to an agreement. Or does Matt LaFleur go in there and say, I want $16 million, and the Packers say no? This doesn't necessarily mean that he's the coach next year and the years after. I think all of those things are in play here. And ladies and gentlemen, if Rob Demovsky is talking about these rumors with Matt LaFleur, I can promise you they are legitimate. They are worthy of being discussed. And like the longer that this goes on, it kind of makes you wonder. Like each day that passes with no more news about Matt LaFleur possibly being back as this head coach, with no more news about, hey, an extension's coming up close, we're just trying to nail out these couple of details, then it really does make you wonder if he's got a future in Green Bay. Because the rumors on the street is that he wants to be a really highly paid head coach, somewhere in the $13 to $16 million range. Well, if that's the case, that would land him as a top 5 highest paid head coach in the league. And if you look at this list, every single one of these coaches outside of Jim Harbaugh, they've won Super Bowls. Every single one of these coaches have won conference titles. Even though Mike Tomlin stepped down today, more on that later. All of those guys are looked at as the top guys in the league because they've had success already. Matt LaFleur might think of himself on that level, and the Packers don't, and maybe they're just not going to see eye to eye. Then he'd go on the open market, where there currently is 9 job openings. Arizona, Atlanta, Baltimore, Cleveland, Las Vegas, Miami, New York, Tennessee, and Pittsburgh as of this afternoon. And I will tell you this right now. You may not believe me, but I promise you, Matt LaFleur would be a hot name, okay? He'd be up there with the Tomlins of the world. He'd be up there with the John Harbaughs of the world. Like, it might feel like those guys are in a stratosphere of their own, but I promise you that they're all in the same tier together. In this coaching search, if Matt LaFleur were to be an open candidate, those guys would be the 3 in the S tier. Everybody else would come under. There are some hot names, but none that would be hotter than John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin, and Matt LaFleur. Every single one of those teams, I promise you, would take Matt LaFleur in an instant. It feels like his time at Green Bay may have run its course. A lot of the fan base thinks so. We don't know if Ed Policy thinks so or not. But if it has, it's not going to take him long to find another head coaching job, I promise you. And because he'd be so highly sought after, this is where we get into this talk. Like, if they don't want to pay him Could they trade him? I know it sounds crazy. It's rare. Doesn't happen a lot. In fact, it's only happened 5 times this century. But it still is a possibility. More on that in a second. What do you think will happen with LaFleur? Will he be extended, fired, or traded? Let me know down below in the comment section. Give me an E, an F, or a T. Weigh in right now. Let's talk about a possible trade because I don't think that this is the craziest thing. Again, let me remind you where we are sitting right now. Matt LaFleur wants to get paid this much. The Green Bay Packers don't want to pay him that much. He would be a very sought-after name. Like, it makes sense. 1 + 1 + 1 = 3 in this scenario. Like, the lack of hustle on this thing from Ed Policy and company is telling me something. It's telling me that they're not really even close to a deal. And like I said, it is rare, but it's happened. It's happened in the last 3 years. 2023, Denver trades for Sean Payton, 1st and 2nd round pick. 2019, Bucks for Bruce Arians, 6th and 7th round pick. Then you got to go all the way back to 2002. Raiders trade for Gruden, 2 firsts, 2 seconds. Big trade right there. In 2000s, Patriots made a very smart move. They traded for Bill Belichick, a 1st, a 4th, and a 7th. And in 1999, the Seahawks traded the Green Bay Packers for Holmgren, a 2nd round pick. I would be willing to bet that if you trade Matt LaFleur away, you could get a 1st round pick. I really believe that. And if not that, then you could at least get 2 day 2 selections. Depending on who would trade you the 1st round or kind of where they are in the draft, I think that would answer your question of if you would get that 1st rounder or not. And think about it, man. Packers don't have a 1st round pick. So if they feel like this is the time to move on from their head coach via trade, this seems like the offseason to do it because you don't have that 1st rounder. You don't have that luxury. I got 5 teams of those 9 openings that I feel like would trade for Matt LaFleur. Now, Falcons, Titans, Giants. Apparently, they're the 3 that are all in on John Harbaugh, and John Harbaugh seems to be all in on them. He can only go to one place. If he doesn't go to New York, they got a young quarterback in Jackson Dart. I think they would be all over Matt LaFleur. Atlanta, now they don't have a 1st rounder. Keep that in mind. But I think that Matt Ryan, because of their time coaching and, I guess, playing for each other when Matt Ryan played for Matt LaFleur, there's that relationship right there. That could be interesting. Las Vegas. They're about to have the 1st overall pick. Probably going to go get Fernando Mendoza. Might as well pair him up with Matt LaFleur. Cleveland. They're trying to figure out their coaching, or excuse me, not coaching, quarterback situation. MLF's a good guy for that job. In Tennessee, same thing with New York. Young, talented Cuban. Name a team that you think would trade for Matt LaFleur down below in the comment section. Who do you think it would be? Let me know your answer right now. Real quickly, before we get to the rest of today's video, we're going to round out with a little bit of the NFL news that happened today. Very surprisingly, I got to tell you something that's not a surprise. Underdog is my favorite sponsor on today's show. Look, the football playoffs are here, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the gridiron action. Let's cut to the chase. If you download the app today and use promo code Packers Report and play your first $5, you could score $75 in bonus interest. Playing on Underdog is so easy. You could just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, receiving yards, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. We got the national championship coming up very, very soon. The big game in college football. Go higher on Fernando Mendoza passing yards, higher Mark Fletcher Jr. rushing yards, and Omar Cooper with a higher on 3.5 receptions. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today and use promo code Packers Report. Score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That is promo code Packers Report. Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 or older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/playing good terms _DFS_HTML for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 helpline at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. So if you missed it, last night the Pittsburgh Steelers got absolutely dominated by the Houston Texans in their home stadium. This was their 7th straight playoff loss, and all of those losses have happened by double digits. So, the Pittsburgh Steelers decided it was time for a change. Or Mike Tomlin decided it was time for a change. Jeremy Fowler breaking the news that Mike Tomlin's stepping down as the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach. 19 seasons he was in the Steel City and a lot of success. Never had a losing season. 193, 114, and 2 in the regular season. Of course, he's a Super Bowl champion as well. It's hilarious that the AFC North is in the current state that it's in. John Harbaugh, Kevin Stefanski, and Mike Tomlin all not going to be there next season. And probably the worst coach out of all four of those in Zach Taylor is the only one that is staying. Pittsburgh jumps up on the most attractive job board list for sure. Baltimore, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, New York, Las Vegas. That is my ranking. I think Baltimore is easily at the top with all the talent that they've got. I think Atlanta's got a lot of really good talent as well. Pittsburgh, the talent department, maybe not as much, but is a storied franchise. A lot of people want to be a part of it. And New York and Las Vegas. New York already has a young talent quarterback. Las Vegas, $100 million cap space. They got the number 1 overall pick. If Green Bay did come open, like we've talked about today, I promise you it would shoot up to the very top of that list. Baltimore would probably still be one because you got a 2-time MVP at quarterback, but Green Bay would be a very, very close second. I promise you. Let's go do it for today's show. Make sure you guys got me followed on socials, Twitter, and on Instagram. If anything breaks regarding Matt LaFleur, I promise you I will have it covered on socials before I am here on YouTube because it's faster that way. 10 seconds to put out a tweet. A little bit longer, get a video going. Regardless, we're going to get videos going all offseason long. Make sure you subscribe.